Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time, a Wave Sports and Entertainment original. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars, I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. It is Shannon Penn Friday. Shannon Penn, what's going on?
I'm doing well, Bo. What about yourself?
Man, Dominique chucked the deuce on us for the whole July. He told us that he ain't got nothing. I done seen Dominique working with other people in July, but it's cool. Dominique told us he out of here on July, so we getting some of the homies back. This allows for a timing at which we can actually get Shannon on. We only been trying for like a year and change.
Yeah, funny how that works. Funny how it works when I'm available to make time when the Knicks are actually relevant again. Funny how that works.
I'm just saying. I've been trying to get you all here.
No coincidence.
So you got to realize, if people who don't know, I guess, man, we're getting to the 20-year mark, sir.
Dog, we hitting a milestone. It's crazy. Like we
close.
Like we hitting that level before TVs went HD.
Yes. Like we've been doing this for a long time. But Shannon is the first producer of The Right Time for when it was a radio show. But trying to get the timing right is not that easy to do necessarily. I'll be following Shannon on Instagram, so I'll be like, oh, look who's in New York again. Okay, I see. No, it's cool. But Shannon is grown enough for the both of us. Therefore, we have this understanding. But the thing is, Shannon, big Knicks fan. Always been big Knicks fan. The Knicks get good. Shannon ain't got no time to hang out with us, which is kind of, ironic.
Funny how that way. It's been such a long time, man. I forgot what it felt like to actually have the Knicks relevant and not be an embarrassment. It's a weird space to be in, Bo. Like I was waiting. Like I haven't been able to get those texts from you about what's up with your mans, what's up with your teams. The Knicks out here nicking again, huh? Nah, I ain't got none of that.
Hold up. I want you to be fair to me on this front, though. It's really the Giants I was giving you the blues about. The Knicks kind of felt like cruel and unfair, and you were never the Knicks fan that makes us laugh at Knicks fans, right? Like you always had your wits about you. Honestly, when it came to all of them, the thing with the Giants is they were so hilariously sorry. Like the Knicks, it was just kind of demoralizing. The Giants would be funny about it.
Right. And what's crazy is like the Giants at different points were an embarrassment, but they would, in between their embarrassment, they would make 2 Super Bowl runs. Like, so then you would always have those 2 Super Bowl runs. But then other than that, they would go out there and do dumb stuff like taking half-naked pictures on a boat in Miami or during the off week of a playoff game. Stupid stuff like that with Tim's on a boat in Miami. Makes no sense.
New dudes. Yo, here's what's so wild. Those were the new dudes of that time. You ever think Odell Beckham look at like Jared McCain and be like, I don't know what's going on with these new dudes, bro?
They out here doing these new dances. I don't know.
Yeah, like we have the new dudes. I had not really thought about this, but the new dudes are newer than the new dudes who were pretty goddamn new, as far as I could tell previously. But there's a whole difference between the 10 years ago new dudes and the new dudes of today.
And that's what's so funny, too. I'm glad you brought up McCain because folks talking about his dancing and all this stuff. Y'all created this. Y'all new dudes, y'all former new dudes created these new dudes. Like they just disciples of you guys. Y'all were out here already doing it. So I
feel like we had nothing to do with the new dudes that came after us. I do not see the connective tissue there at all. Maybe we were just too goddamn real. You know what I'm saying? Like our whole get down, maybe we was just so real that them boys realized they could never be that real. And so they had to get extra new.
Plus, we were old enough where we were before the social media, where the new dudes, like there was, every bit of social media and the dances and all. Now these new dudes, that's all they know. Yes. That's all they know. And you brought the point about with the whole Jason Tatum thing and living in the world of memes. Like that's what these new dudes are.
Yes. Let me ask you this about McCain, because I didn't pay no attention to Duke basketball this year, so I was completely unaware of him. In the way where I would have been aware of him previously. And I don't even know if our people can do it, but I'm going to take a moment now just to say, put some of his TikToking in here right now. All right, so that's what we're talking about here. And I had also told the people the other day that since I didn't pay no attention to basketball and all I knew about him was the TikToks, and then I saw some clips of him hooping, I was like, oh, okay. Now I see how he's gotten away with this TikTok persona. This boy cold.
Yeah, like, he's a legit 5-star recruit when he came to Duke. Like he is absolutely one of the best players in the league, and he is absolutely now my daughter Shannon's favorite player in the NBA. Why? Yeah. Because of TikTok. She's like, oh my God, is that Jared McCain? Oh, and then she out here doing the dances and doing. I mean, she's 15, and that's all she knows. And we don't even think about it. Like, that's a whole category of fandom that we don't even comprehend as far as being famous and being known from your socials and your TikTok like he is. And then you can validate that for what you do on the basketball court.
Well, let me ask you this. Can you imagine Mike Krzyzewski's face first time he saw one of these videos? Or has he even seen them? Did they go through a full-on concerted effort? Because, hey, look, he wound up getting drafted by the Sixers, who be dookie as they can be at various points, right? I wonder if everybody just did, hey, don't show Coach. Like, somehow, some way, they just managed to make sure that Coach K never saw it. Coach K would come in the light. Coach K would stop him to talk like he did Dylan Brooks.
See, the fortunate thing for McCain, you got to think about it now. He's young enough now where K probably didn't even recruit him. Like, he was probably right. He's probably a shyer recruit where K didn't even have to think about that.
Hey, K still got that same office in that building, and I'm just telling you, they made sure that K didn't know nothing about him. They like that first time he talked to K, they came back and was like, "Hey, next time Coach come, put a little bass in your voice." I'm not saying you can't be who you are, but put a little bass in your voice.
If you can, incorporate slapping the floor in one of those TikTok dances. Too.
Yes.
They love that. They love that.
Yeah.
They love that.
Salute something. You know what I'm saying? Show him you got some hair on your chest, because he's like that. I mean, Coach K's always been like your granddaddy. Now he actually is like your granddaddy.
Right. It's still weird. Like, we talk about so many coaches now and transition from some of these guys, because you had SEC media this week or whatever, right? Like, not having Nick Saban, like having him on the ESPN side and not being interviewed, that was weird. No Pete Carroll and Belichick in the NFL. Like, it's just weird. Like, you get so many of these legends that are retiring now. We just mentioned Coach K. Like, it's still a weird transition point. Because I'll ask you this, because I brought up this question now, because you got obviously Kirby Smart in Georgia and what they are right now, right? But if you had to say as far as a face of college football now as a coach, who would you say that person is?
There isn't one. Now that Jim Harbaugh is gone, right? And also, to be fair, like a singular face of college football as a coach has rarely ever existed. Like, Saban's the only one that really gets to be the face per se. You can have the dude that's at the top of the hill or something like that, but it's such a regional, kind of diffuse sport that hasn't gotten there. But if you start asking me coaches who matter, right? Like, coaches that are interesting, coaches that make people talk about them, other than Dabo, who we got left? Like, Brian Kelly still elicits a reaction, but it's just because people don't like him, his staff label crew. Like, we just don't like his get down.
My family.
But he make you feel something.
Right. I would say, what do you think Deion is in this conversation?
Oh, well, he definitely makes people feel things.
Right, one way or the other. And I think this is a really important season for Deion, because, one, you got to make a bowl game. Like, that should be at the least expectation level for Colorado, is making a bowl game. I know they're revamping the entire offensive line, but Deion, this is your last year with Shedeur as your quarterback, most likely. It's your last year with Travis Hunter. Like, this, you're not going to get more talented players than those two right now. You got to at least baseline get to a bowl game.
Look, did you see the thing where Travis Hunter was playing video games he was playing NCAA, and he was playing on the live stream, and somebody asked if it was realistic about their offensive line, and he said, yes, they can't block nobody? Like, what is Deion telling these boys is my question. You got to look. You can get down like Deion Sanders gets down or whatever, but one thing I never remember from Deion Sanders as a player is I never remember Deion ever talking bad about his teammates, and Deion played on some bad teams. But I don't remember him ever, like, publicly shading the squad that he was on. You can't have these boys out here acting like this. And they've been acting like this for, like, you can act like Deion Sanders when you as good as Deion Sanders. You know how many people have been as good as Deion Sanders? I can really only think of one. Deion Sanders.
Right. And you can't do what he does, too, as far as a coach, and, like, elicit that level of attention, because Deion Sanders is great at selling Deion Sanders. And through that, Deion Sanders will be great at selling whatever program that he's coaching, whether it was Colorado, whether it was Jackson State, whether high school. But that's Deion Sanders being Deion Sanders. Like, to your point, you can't do what he does.
I think that this is an important point to always remember. You can get away with having Deion's get down if you are Deion. Hell, I don't know who else, but you can get away with having his get down in the presence of remarkable success. You can't really get down like that and be average, right? Now, look, at Colorado, winning 9 games maybe takes you past the point of being average or whatever it is. But no, it can't be 4-8 again. It cannot. It can't be another year with a terrible offensive line. It cannot. Like, he's going to have to show some upward progress. And they showed upward progress the first month of that season. And then after that, they looked like they were supposed to look. Like, I don't think they had a disappointing season, but y'all can't be jerks and coming off of 4 wins. Right. Like, Shador out here talking about it. Everybody's Super Bowl. Y'all were everybody's Super Bowl last year. Now y'all just going to be everybody's we don't like y'all. And that's not the same thing as a Super Bowl.
Right. And you saw it towards the end of the year, too. The novelty kind of wore off there, where it's like, all right, yeah, it's the show. So where's the substance behind the show? Where's the substance behind the flash? Like, yeah, this is great. And you're able to get these celebrities to come to these games, and that's great. And the Shador Watt celebration, that's great. Travis Hunter's an unbelievable athlete. All right, where are the wins, though? You know? Yeah. Like, how does this translate to on-field success? And that's going to be the biggest question for Colorado moving forward this year.
And also, brother, that's a social media phenomenon they got going there. They're real good at it, and they've carried a lot of favor in that space. Hey, man, I don't watch this happen at every turn. It feel like everybody love you on social media. Brother, them jokes coming, man. Mm-hmm. And I don't feel like you should, like, dictate and have to live your life necessarily around trying to avoid them jokes. People do need to understand them jokes coming from the same people that was out here riding your jock. Them jokes, nobody, ask Drake. Don't nobody want to be on team loser. Nobody likes a loser. Like, and you think I've talked about this on the show before. I can't remember if I've done it with you. But is there anything more insulting than calling somebody a loser?
Like, you can't, like, how do you defend that? Like, I'm no loser. Here are my credentials. Like, no, like you look like a loser defending yourself from the allegations of being called a loser. Those are loser tendencies within themselves.
Has your mother ever had to tell you that somebody you was kicking it with was a loser?
Oh, no, I haven't had that.
My brother had a friend that daddy met, and daddy didn't like him. And daddy, I think, heard him talking crazy to his mom on the phone or something like that. Daddy told my brother that dude was a loser. And as I recall, that loser ultimately started smoking rocks. Now, I don't know if my dad knew that he was going to be losing with the italics like that, but he did, in fact, demonstrate himself to be a loser. I know I had a partner that my brother told me he was a loser, and buddy, he sure was. He was absolutely a loser. I think I knew he was a loser at the time, but he was definitely a loser. My brother called me every day to explain to me why I need to stop kicking it with him. And the last thing he called me and told me was, he the kind of dude you be out with, and then you don't know why, but people just start shooting.
So what do you do there if you are associated with said loser, right? And you acknowledge that person is a loser. You've been told by multiple people that this person is a loser. So you acknowledge that him being a loser. Do you then try to help him out of this loser? Do you try to give him some game to help him rise above this? Or you just accept that person for the loser that they are?
Option 3, buddy. Shuck that deuce. Sometimes the loser puts you in a situation. Like, here's the thing. It's hard to win with a loser on your team. So, case in point, I will leave this out here as ambiguous because I don't feel right saying it definitively. But the allegations are strong that James Harden is a loser, right? That James Harden can put up a lot of points. James Harden can win an MVP. James Harden can get you to a point. But after a certain point, you are not just going to lose with James Harden. You're going to lose because you have James Harden. And if something happens and losses happen consistently because of you, you cannot reject the null hypothesis that beta equals loser. You just can't do it. It's a good chance that we're talking about a loser here. If you are a loser, people cannot win around you. And if you want to win, you kind of got to get the losers out of your midst.
Mm-hmm. I guess Paul George saw it the same way, huh?
Yeah.
He's another one that's
Paul George.
But it's interesting, like with him, because like he doesn't get the same, maybe because he was never like an MVP candidate or won an MVP like Harden. Like he somehow, like, yeah, we joke the injury stuff, but he kind of avoids some of that criticism that was probably warranted to him because he's been cool being the other guy, except for his early run in with the Pacers. Like he's cool being that second dude. So like when Oklahoma City When Oklahoma City came up short when he was there with Russ, hey, that was Russ's team. Now with the Clippers, hey, Kawhi didn't play, got Harden, it didn't work. And now he goes to Philadelphia, and now all of the vitriol, criticism, whatever, that goes directly to Joel Embiid. So he's like, I'm making my money, and I get to avoid the criticism.
So we'll see about this, though, because Joel Embiid has not gotten that criticism really up until this point, and poor Tobias Harris wound up having to endure it by virtue of what his salary was, and Paul George, if I'm not mistaken, is making more money. By the way, Tobias Harris, without an all-star appearance, an all-defense team, has made $250 million.
So you said he hasn't made wait, he hasn't made what? Run that by me again?
No all-star appearance.
No all-star.
No all-NBA.
No all-NBA.
No all-defense.
No all-defense. Still a Hall of Famer, though.
Oh, yeah. Legend at the bank.
That's all that counts. Like, winning is cool and your legacy and all that stuff. But when it comes down to it, there's only one Hall of Fame, only one legend I want to be seen as, and that's going to be a legend at the bank.
Dog, it's a whole new world of legend at the bank. That's coming here. Look here. We out here talking about whether or not James Harden is a loser, whether or not Paul George is a loser. I know where they not losers. The bank. James Harden used to have an ATM at the crib. They are not losers.
Wait, are you serious? He had an ATM at the bank.
That tell you everything you know about what his life. Like, look, it was an ATM at the crib, and I bet you it was a $10 fee. And the reason that I bet you it was a $10 fee is that the places with ATMs and the $10 fee, what they do with them places is the reason why I would assume that James Harden had an ATM at his house. We might be doing some of this. We might be doing some of that, but you're going to need some cash.
I wonder if the ATM at James Harden only distributed once.
Oh, hey, look, man. I bet James Harden got the gun that shoot him. You know what I'm saying? You see them joints? I bet James Harden got it all. But no, like when your parents, at least with my parents, I can't speak for nobody else, but I feel like by and large, parents realize, and you know it, that people kind of come in and out of your kid's life. Just because they're a friend now don't mean they're going to be a friend forever. This boy that's coming over ain't necessarily going to be there for the longest time, But when it comes up and somebody feels the need to speak on it, there's no way for you as a kid to understand your parents are correct. Mm-hmm. That person needs to go.
Right. And then that comes down to it, like having an adult in your life, whether we're talking about in real life, whether we're talking about in sports, having an adult in the locker room, like that's key. Like it's all well and good to turn up and have fun and all of this other stuff, but you got to have someone that's going to say, all right, nah, like it's time to like lock in and actually get this stuff done.
Son, that's a loser. You got a loser in your midst. It's fungus among us. Fungus among us. Gotta get him out of here.
One last thing on the loser thing. Like what's tougher? Which loser is tougher to let go? When the loser is your boy or if the loser is somebody that you're interested in, like a significant other? Like, because you're willing to make excuses and reasons why you're willing to accept that significant other's loser tendencies.
So I'm curious your thoughts of the theory I am going to offer.
Okay.
When the loser is your boy, chances are you keep that loser there because that loser has done something for you, right? The loser was there for you at a time that mattered. You know what I'm saying? The loser was the one to scrap when you couldn't scrap, right? The loser, like it's typically something along that lines. That loser has done something for you. When it's the significant other, because that loser do something to you. You can't really, you may not be able to explain it to everybody, but brother, if you only knew, you wish that you was in my shoes. Like you blowing past
all the warning signs, all the street lights, all the warning signs. You're going right, you're doing. Nah, that's not a stop sign. That's just a yield, man. I acknowledge it, so I'm gonna keep on going.
No, here's the problem, though. I don't think that this is truly an appropriate question to ask a man. I don't know about you. I have never really dated a loser, right? Mm-hmm. Like I have never had a woman that was really close to me in my life where people were looking at me like, why is she there? And most dudes I know, they ain't really got that. They might have one where they like, yo, why you let her talk to you like that? Or something, along those lines. But ain't nobody just like, that woman is a loser. Every single woman I have ever met that was worth a good goddamn has had one full-on certified loser, not just as they man, but basically as they live-in man. Live-in man. Friend of mine told me about the time that her live-in loser didn't have no job. She came home from work and he was shooting a video at the crib. And he ain't even tell her that he was going to do it.
Like what, like a music video? Like
yes.
He was trying to get, like he in his 30s trying to get his rap game on?
Well, he was in his 20s to be fair. But yes, he was trying to get it going. And she, she told me she tried to get him like, yo, you think you might want to get out here and get a job? And he was like, yo, I need time to create. Yo, I need space to create. And every woman I know has dated some loser of that archetype. And I am just blown away by it.
And, well, and it's funny we bring that up because then I think that brings us to sports, right? Because on Freddie and Harry, right, we joke Freddie Coleman all the time because he is a fan of two teams, the Jets and the Cowboys, which I don't understand how you can be a fan of two teams, right? But then that goes back to me with like, hey, I'm going to be loyal. If I'm a fan of this team, I'm not getting off this narcotic, right?
Right.
Like I knew a dude who was a fan of a team that made it to a couple Super Bowls, couldn't win any of those Super Bowls, actually blew one of those Super Bowls when it was up 28-3. And he claims he got off that narcotic. I don't know. I might have to question your fandom. I'm just saying, Bo. I'm just saying because when you acknowledge that your team has faults and that you might even be with a loser franchise, but you're willing to stick it out for that hope that one year that they can put it all together, that's what you stick with that one loser team, man. And you can't get off that narcotic, man.
I feel you. I understand what you're saying, where you're coming from. And I guess what you're asking me about me getting off that Falcon narcotic and everything else. I think I get what your real question is. And I'm going to go ahead and answer it right now for you and say, yes, all of y'all are on the clock at all times. Like once it becomes clear that you are an irredeemable loser, I'm out. Either I got to go or you got to go. But we can't be in the same place because Bo Jones is nobody's loser.
But I think that's the hope, too, is like you sticking with these franchises, but then the hope that, hey, you get the right person in place, whether it's an executive, whether it's a player, a coach, somebody that can turn this thing around so that then you can be at a place where you can sit at the big boy table and have some conversations with some of these teams that actually got their stuff together, unlike you or me with the Knicks in the previous 20 some odd years. Said, save for that one mellow year when they went into the Eastern Conference.
No. Well, hold on. We're going to do some advertising right fact. And I do want to talk to you a bit about like what it's like for you to be the fan of a well-run organization, literally for the first time since you were in the 10th grade. Coming up next on The Right Time. Shout out to the good people over at Viator for hooking this up. Sean, you know, I was just in Barcelona for a vacation, and thanks to Viator, I was able to book some super dope travel experiences while I was there. They had me on a great day trip throughout Spain and even helped with some restaurant recommendations in the city.
That's amazing. And Bo, I honestly can't wait to use it for my upcoming trip to France because I heard you can explore over 300,000 plus travel experiences through their app. And plus, they have real traveler reviews so you can, get insider information from people who've already been on the experiences you're considering.
That's right. Plus, free cancellation helps you plan for the unexpected. And Viator also offers 24/7 customer service, so you'll get support at any hour if things aren't going as planned. So to all our listeners, download the Viator app now and use code Viator10 for 10% off your first booking in the app. Find the perfect travel experiences for you. Do more with Viator. What happens when the brightest minds in sports and fashion join forces to create the next great athletic brand? Greatness wins. Greatness Wins athletic clothing has completely transformed my workout game. It's founded by e-commerce entrepreneur Chris Riccobono, sports legend Derek Jeter, and American Ballet Theater principal dancer Misty Copeland. Greatness Wins is where the demands of sport meet the science of fit. Unlike other athletic brands that prioritize fashion over performance, Greatness Wins combines high-performance functionality with a modern, stylish fit. Made from premium, long-lasting fabrics, Greatness Wins products are built to withstand the toughest workouts. In fact, the Greatness Wins collection is curated and tested by the world's greatest competitors, meeting the highest standards for quality, construction, and endurance. And you know I've been talking about it, but I've been in the gym getting my workouts done, and I've been rocking my Greatness Wins gear, which not only looks dope, but is super comfortable to wear. Upgrade your athletic wear at greatnesswins.com now. Use code Bomani and you'll receive 25% off your first purchase. Greatness Wins, where the demands of sport meet the science of fit. Check them out now. That's greatnesswins.com, code Bomani. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Sean, you ever find yourself comparing your life to others? Especially in the sports media industry with social media, it seems like people get caught up wishing about what others might have.
You know, for me, I certainly catch myself comparing my career to others, whether it's my peers who do something cool within the industry that I wanted to do, or seeing people younger than me rise up the ranks. You know, I definitely try to stop myself from doing that because, as they say, comparison is the thief of joy. And it might look like they have it all together on Instagram or whatever, but in reality, they probably don't.
That's right. Therapy can help you focus on what you want instead of what others have, so you can start living your best life. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Celebrate the progress you've already made. Visit BetterHelp.com/Bomani today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/Bomani. All right, Shannon. The Knicks so different. You got people taking hometown discounts to keep the band together, dog.
I greatly appreciate Jalen Brunson and everything that he's done for this organization moving forward now, taking less money. He a better man than me, Bo. I couldn't do it. Look, I've loved the Knicks here for 30 plus years. I ain't taking that pay cut that Jalen Brunson, excuse me. I ain't doing it. I'm so flustered right now, even thinking about it. I'm calling that man out his name, calling him the wrong name, because I still can't comprehend over a week later him leaving that amount of money on the table. Yes, I get it. He can get it back down the road. I'm not in the right mental place to be able to leave that amount of money on the table for nobody. Sorry.
Here's why I would struggle with the leaving it on the table. And I don't think this part has been discussed nearly enough. That man has been underpaid since the end of the first quarter of his first game with the Knicks, right? We thought the Knicks were crazy for being willing to pay him that much. Go back and look at the money that he asked Dallas for, and they wouldn't give him. They would love to have him for that pittance that they were trying to pay him. If they were, think about this, Shannon, if they were trying to pay him that pittance, they might have won a championship by now.
Yeah.
Like, there's a fair argument to be made that you'd rather have Jalen Brunson than Kyrie Irving at this point, especially given that he's younger. Like, you could legit make this point. Now you got all them dudes there from Villanova. Big Lurch went to Oklahoma City. I know you're probably a little sad, not to have him no more.
It's funny how he went from Isaiah, then he became Zay when he was with the Knicks. Now he's Isaiah again in Oklahoma City.
Yes,
he went back to being Isaiah.
He's definitely back to being. Look here. You
Did you know he was Zay? Did you know he was Zay? Be honest. Before folks actually figured out who he was with the Knicks.
No,
did you know Isaiah was Zay?
I had to research it. I didn't know that he was Zay, but I mean, like I said, I had to find out if he was an Isaiah or a Hartenstein, and he was both. You know what I'm saying? Like he got there. Hey, look, you talking about you ain't taking that hometown discount if you Jalen Brunson. Let me tell you who clearly wasn't taking no hometown discount. Big Zay. Big Zay was like, y'all paying what to go where? Psh, I got you, dog.
Like, I love this whole thing that we built, and that's all well and cool. Yeah, I'm about to go make twice what y'all fools was offering me. I'm good.
Yo, they got so mad at me about this. I think this may have been when I was in the Bahamas. It was coming off the Bronny thing. And I saw that Big Zay had got that contract. And I was like, oh, that's what one of those costs now? And people were furious. And I'm like, you telling me that you thought that was a $30 million a year player while you was watching him? Well, he's a great this. I'm not saying he's not good at stuff. I'm saying I didn't know that was what one of those costs now. Right? It used to be like a Jim McIlvain, a Timofey Mozgov, right? One of those goes for a certain price. Now, I'm not saying he ain't better than those cats, but it's the same model, and those used to go for a certain price. They never got to the point of going no $30 million. Brook Lopez is out here like, those go for what? He can't even shoot.
Right. I'm out here all defensive, remade my entire game because I didn't rebound and play defense at all with the Nets. I'm out here getting all defense first team, and I can't even scratch that.
Dog, Brooke Lopez is gonna run up on Big Zay like, how does it feel to be me? Like he did that. He's like, Hov did that. So hopefully y'all won't have to go through that. Brooke Lopez to come out here and been like, how did I never truly reap the benefits of this? What I provided for all of you. Because you're right, he turned into an entirely different player. Brooke Lopez, by the way, all-time leading scorer of the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, I knew that. Like it is interesting though, like just to watch like his game now. And before we get the Knicks, while we're on the Bucks, because we're curious to see where do they go from here, man. Like
I don't know. They got stuck, right?
Like they stuck. You got like Giannis. Yeah, he re-upped for 3 years or whatever. But as we've seen in the NBA, you can get around those things. Dame had one of his worst shooting seasons of his career. Chris Middleton just had surgery on both ankles yesterday. Both ankles.
Yes.
Like hold on, if you need surgery on both ankles, Bo. Are you getting the surgeries done at the same time, or are you getting one ankle at a time? Because I need a good ankle. I can't be out here having surgery on both ankles, hopping around out here, not being able to walk. Like, you
gotta start doing that upper body work. You're gonna be out here with the wheelchair riders.
Yeah, but back to the Bucks. Like we'll get to the Knicks in a second, and of course the Sixers. But like, where are the Bucks now? Because they seem to be stuck in that place where it's like, yeah, we're still good enough to compete, but we're an older team now. We don't have the depth. Doc Rivers is out here doing Doc Rivers stuff. What happens now with the Bucks? Because it just seems like they're in purgatory a little better than purgatory, but not by much.
To be fair to them, I feel like they in the same place as everybody in the East that ain't Boston, just with a different story, right? Everybody kind of feels stuck in the middle. Even the Knicks, who we'll get to. All right. I didn't know an OG Anunoby cost $40 million either. I didn't know that's what one of those costs. That's a discussion for another day again. But everybody in the East that's not Boston, it feels like I look at the Sixers the same way. I'm like, all right, so what y'all about to do? Like, how exactly was Paul George the thing that was going to get them to that next place? I don't think so. Who else we talking about here?
As far as teams, I mean, you got the Pacers are still young, but
they're the team that has room to get better. Because they still got to get, what was it, blah, whatever your name is, right? Like, they didn't have him last year in the postseason. He's good. Not Bilal. Bilal played for Washington. Benedict. Maltherin.
Cumberbatch. Another Benedict. Margarin, right? Margarin. Yes. You know who he is. Yeah, I'm gonna call him Clay. He's a good young player, and he's coming back off the injury. But it just seems like all of these teams now, especially in the East, are vying to at least compete with the Celtics. And that's my fear with the Knicks. It seems as though the Knicks are built to compete with the Celtics, but I don't know how good the Knicks are built for the long run. It's similar to the comparison that the Timberwolves made this year with trying to be built and have the size to compete and beat Denver, which they did, but they were no match for a team that got up and down like the Dallas Mavericks did. And that's my fear with the Knicks, is that their sole focus is beating Boston, but I don't know how they can contend with other teams like Philadelphia in dealing with Joel Embiid.
Well, the Timberwolves had a different problem that I don't think that the Knicks have. And that Timberwolves problem, it's the allegations. You know what I'm saying? The Knicks don't have anybody that I look at and have to wonder, wow, is that dude a sucker? Like, I don't have to say that about anybody that's on the Knicks. For every foot, I got to say that 14 times and change for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And that's like when you're saying that about the second and third best player on the team, where you have to raise the question. All we can do is raise the question. And, during the semifinals, people was real mad at me because they feel like I'd be too mean to Carl. And then they watched the Western Conference Finals and they was just like, okay, but you still mean. They wasn't disputing like the truth of it. That's Minnesota's problem. The Knicks, the question for me, and maybe this just doesn't matter as much anymore, or it won't matter with the way that the cap is going to make the talent get spread out. Like, the Knicks don't have that second guy to go get buckets for you
consistently. Like, I think Randall can be that guy, but Randall's such a streaky player where it's like some games and then you'll go through a stretch where he can't hit anything.
He's the guy that has allegations to beat. Sorry about that. I forgot about him because he didn't play in the playoffs, but you see it as I do. If he don't score, he doesn't give you anything at all. I can't imagine if I rooted for the Knicks, how much I would hate Julius Randle. And it's sad to say that because when he balls and he goes hard. But when it's not going well, he packs his shit up. And that is, for me, indefensible.
Right. And I don't think he can afford to do that this year because, honestly, he's going to say all the right things in public. I get it. But when the Knicks brought on now Bridges, another one of those Villanova guys, and now Jalen got all of his boys, I can very much see Randle looking over his shoulder this season. Where, if he goes through one of these slumps, you can very easily move OG to the 4, and you start an OG with Bridges and Hart or White Dante starting alongside Brunson. Very much, this is a make or break season for Randle. The Knicks success this year has everything to do with whether or not Randle can accept his role this year. Yeah. Because if he can't, and like you said, if he goes to one of these streaks where he's not playing well and he packs it in, they're done.
Randle got another problem. And I know this ain't going to mean that much to you, and it ain't going to mean that much to a lot of people that are listening. But you got to remember this about Randle at all times, man. He from Dallas, right? And so, he from Dallas. And maybe you trust that personally, but one day he going to show up with a shag, and you're going to be like, damn, what happened to Julius Randle? And I'm going to be like, I told y'all, man, he from Dallas. And it's going to explain everything that don't make sense to you is going to get explained just that easy.
Well, along the same lines of Randle, though, I think overall with the Knicks, now it's my question for them, how do you handle the expectations now? Yes, the whole Brunson thing, it was a great, cute story, how they came along, and now they're legitimate and your MVP candidate, this, that, and the third, and guys playing hard. That's a great story. Love that. But now how are you going to handle when people expect you to be a 50-plus win team now? How do you how are you going to handle expectations and the criticism that comes with playing in New York? Because I think for the most part, they've been able to slide here the last couple of years because it's been a really feel-good story. But now, how do you handle going into it when folks expect you to win?
Well, here's my question. How many minutes are these dudes going to get? How many people is Tom Thibodeau going to play? Mm-hmm. Is he going to do this in very Tibbs-like fashion and have him out here with a 8-man rotation is about what the NBA goes for? How many dudes they got that are reasonably expecting to get minutes? Because when you count the Villanova dudes, that's 5 dudes by themselves, right? So four. Okay, so 4 of them: Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle. Who else we had?
McBride. And you got McBride
and OG. So that's 8.
Yeah, right. That's the rotation. And I know the Knicks got to fill that backup center position or whatever, but I can absolutely see Randle even being that guy where it's in order to get all of these guys minutes, Randle's got to play some minutes at the 5 so that you can get these other guys some run.
And y'all got all them left-handed dudes.
Well, Hartenstein was one of them, so now he's going now. He's going now. But you still got Randle and Brunson. Your top.
I don't think about the Knicks. The Knicks don't have anybody that makes $30 million a year.
Right.
That was the thing. Why would you trade 4 picks for Mikal Bridges? Because he only makes $20 million a year. He the one looking at Big Zay damn, that's what one of those costs, huh?
Right. And he has a couple of years left on his deal, but you read some of the reports and tea leaves that he would be considering taking less as well, which I don't. Hey, power to you being able to do that, but I'm not taking less. I'm sorry. I'm on that OG. I'm on that OG. I'm sorry. I like to win. Love you guys. I ain't taking less. I'm sorry. But
it's your job to figure this out.
But you're right though, and we know with Tibbs, they're gonna have a short rotation, and he likes playing guys. It's gonna be hard for the Josh Harts, even McBride to some extent last year when you get used to playing heavy minutes, and now you go back to being a role player. You can look. We talked about White Dante. You go from being a starter. Once Randle went out, he was their second leading scorer. Now you're going to the bench. Now you're going to have to accept this 6-man role. How is he going to handle that? Because we really haven't seen him, if you haven't noticed, out in public really too much. Since this Bridges trade went down, obviously Brunson and Hart got their podcast and they're doing interviews and introductory press conferences. We haven't really heard much from Dante yet because he's kind of the guy left out of this whole thing now.
Don't you worry. My guy will figure it out. He's a champion. You know what I'm saying? And look, I do feel though with the present construction of this team, though they need him because this it sounds like an exaggeration, but it goes back to him in college. Hey man, even if you think about him in the Mario Chalmers type of way, That dude ain't afraid to take that shot that you need taken when that game comes in there, and you need a dude like that, and he'll make that shit too.
Right. We saw that time and time again in this playoff run too. Like he was the dude. Like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to take this. Like you saw that game two when they beat Philly, and you had everything that went crazy at the end of that game. He had missed the three. Hartenstein got the rebound and kicked it back to him, and he put that thing up again and hit it. Like he ain't scared, and there's something to say for that, you know. Like It's something to say for him being able to play under that pressure in New York, and I think he's fine with that. He's just, I don't know if he's going to be willing to accept his new role now as the sixth man.
You're happy, aren't you?
Oh my gosh! I'm trying to be a professional. I'm trying to break this down and the whole thing, but I like this is weird. Like even too, like the playoff run, and you saw the old Knicks come back, and it was like, you know, the mended fences with Steph in the organization, Stephon Marbury in the organization. You know, John Starks out there looking like the proud uncle on the court way too damn much. But like, it was all good. Like the next step though, like they talk about all the time about these infinity stones with the Villanova guys. The last real infinity stone for the Knicks, if we keep it a buck, they got to find some way. And I don't think it's going to happen because I talked to him recently. They got to try to mend fences with Charles Oakley, and I don't think that's happening. Like if you really want to make it full circle, you got to try to mend some fence with Oakley because he's still bitter with Dolan and he's still bitter with Pat Ewing too.
Oh, I didn't know he had beat with Pat.
He's cool. He was a good player, but I mean, you heard even Oakley saying that Brunson's the best Knicks player since Walt Frazier.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And we had him on the show, and he doubled down on that. He was like, did I stutter? He's like, no, I love Pat. Pat was a great teammate, but he never did what Jalen Brunson is doing. I was like, oh.
That's poppycock. That is the least true thing that you could possibly say. They carried that team for 15 years.
I was like, oh.
Now, you remember that time Jalen Brunson got to the finals? Oh, that's right.
Exactly. Right. But no, it is a good space, honestly. Like I'm curious from your perspective, now that you've been to New York a while now, like how is the conversation there and how people view the Knicks since you've been there? Like your perception of what their fandom was and now what it's become.
Oh no, I love you guys. I get it now. Like people would just be so just asking me, just hoping for anything good. Like, you got anything good to tell me about the Knicks? Right? Because before the world shut down, the Knicks were terrible. And so they was doing that. No, I want good things for you guys. The problem that the Knicks have, and I guess you kind of an example of this, but you cooler than most, but you know what I'm talking about. Y'all don't send y'all's best and y'all's brightest as y'all's representatives out of the country, out of the city. And so when we get Knicks fans in our own little city, we hate them because they detestable. They the worst. They so loud and they be lying about the Knicks. I get here and it's not, look, it don't take much to get people all charged up and start talking about championships. But everybody, like when the world started opening back up and they had the people back in the arena for the playoffs that year, man, I was looking out there and I was like, everybody looks so happy. I want good things for the Knicks. And the Knicks, you can't understand how much the Knicks matter in this city when they sorry. You realize it when they good. I went out, it was the night of the second round of the draft. I went and caught up with Vinny and Monica pulled up, right? We were at a little barbecue joint on 23rd Street. Hey, man, I've been on television in some form of capacity for like 15 years, okay? I might as well have just been a waiter at that place in the presence of Monica McNutt. Like, because Monica do the Knicks games.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's a whole different ball game. People interrupting us while we eating everything else because that's what the Knicks are here, right? The Knicks matter, and people seem happy with it. It's what's up.
Right. Like that's cool to hear because, obviously from the outside, although I'm here in Connecticut, like you see all the couple years ago was the bing bong and all of that stuff and people joke that. And you got to take the good with the bad, though. When you have those crazy fans outside of MSG and all of that, like that's like you want that passion. Like, yeah, they go a little too far. Absolutely. But that's kind of the beauty, the love of it. Like you got to take those losers, too. Tying it back in, like you got those fans that you don't really want to claim, but they with you, so they part of the family. So you got to take them too. So you got to be able to embrace those losers and accept them for what they are, but understand everybody on the same goal, and that's trying to wish good things for the Knicks.
As of right now, though, y'all's expectations are reasonable. As of right now, you were taking everything in proper stride, and you're happy with what comes down. Like you lost that series to the Pacers, but you know what I'm saying? Like you still took that well. You didn't get greedy about it. It's all good till y'all start getting greedy. And you know what? maybe generationally, you might have broke the generational curse of Knicks fans being greedy, which is to say they've been sorry for so long that you can't even convince yourself that you got the right to be greedy. Like maybe we reached that point. What you think?
Nah, but they're still going to be greedy because you already hear it though. Like the expectations now is Eastern Conference Finals. Like it ain't just making it; it's Eastern Conference Finals and being able to push Boston to a deep series. Like that's.
I think that's reasonable.
But that's the baseline. Like it's not even hey, let's get to it's get there and push and have a realistic chance of winning the East. Like that's what the expectations are now. So
right.
You can only imagine if they go out here and have some level of success in the regular season. And get a they were 2 seed this past year. If they're fighting for Boston for that top seed, it's going to be unbearable.
Well, we're going to find out what it really is with y'all when we find out how long it is before y'all try to get Tibbs up out of there.
Ooh.
Right? Like that's the test. Like that's the first sign that people are not happy with what they got is when you try to run the coach up out of there.
See, another sign too to really test like the Leon Rose and the executive, like how patient are they going to be, right? Because you always hear whispers about, hey, if this superstar comes available, if this guy, whatever. Like I wonder how long they're going to be like, all right, we're good with building this team around Brunson and having a bunch of guys that fit what he does and just roll with it. Because if you hear the whispers and if there's a superstar, somebody available who's not happy, how do you not then try to go after that person, Giannis Antetokounmpo, or somebody like that? You know what I'm saying?
What y'all need to do, and I think that this is how you make this work. What y'all need to do is to send more reporters, like as many reporters as you possibly can to keep asking questions about the sphere. And the more people that ask about the sphere. Look, the sphere is the thing that Jim Dolan had been locked in on. That was the most important thing to him. It has been a smashing success. It is him associated with a project that is really working. And so you just need to keep his mind on the sphere and away from the team. And then you got a chance. This is all fun and games until he gets jealous of Leon. And then you got problems. So just keep him over there locked in on the sphere.
So you mean to tell me it's no coincidence that during the Sphere's construction and grand opening that both the Knicks and Rangers are doing well?
That's all I'm saying.
Like funny how that worked, right? The Knicks and the Rangers when I had the President's Trophy for most points in hockey in the regular season. Knicks second best record in the East, and it all has to do with the Sphere, huh?
Keep his attention over there. Like as long as he got that something else to work on, then the team got a chance. That's how you do this.
All right, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But this season, like I said, it's all well and good, and the feel good story like that was cool the last couple of years. But now the expectations are higher, and now you're expected to do well. So,
well, hold on. Speaking of a feel good story, before I get you out of here, is Tommy DeVito gonna carry y'all to the promised land?
No,
the Giants?
No. Like, I won't. My family almost fought somebody at Giant Stadium this past year, man. The Metalheads. Because we ride with Tyrod. That's right. That's home team, right? We in the stands during this Rams game, and every incompletion Tyrod had, where's Tommy? Where's Tommy? Tommy wouldn't have made that pass. I don't want to curse on your podcast. Get out of here. Get out of here with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, get out of here. That Tommy thing was like he got lucky. I get it. He's the local guy, but there ain't nothing to that. Like they're gonna ride with Daniel Jones this year. My fear with Daniel Jones, like he's cool. But he gonna mess around and slip into some wins this year that he might make them good enough that will justify getting him in the contract extension. Where it's like, yo, you just got to pull the cord. Like you didn't draft him, get him and drafting him. Time to move on for Daniel Jones and the organization.
Now you have to understand that Shannon is a Hamptonite. Tyrod Taylor is from Hampton. Shannon's wife is a Virginia Tech grad, and when you say, "What do you mean she's a Virginia Tech grad?" She used to ride around with this obnoxious bird on her car. It was a very large sticker of a bird that was about a good foot and a half, just plastered onto the car. I'm saying that to say they ride for Tyrod hard over there in the Penn household. I can't imagine what it was like with them asking for Spy versus the agent. That was who Spy versus Spy was. I saw Spy versus Spy at the Super Bowl walking around. He looked just like one of the dudes with Spy versus Spy. But yeah, I can't imagine y'all wasn't trying to hear nothing about no Tommy DeVito. And I know your wife, she really wasn't trying to hear nothing about no damn Tommy DeVito.
Hell nah. She was like, yo, Shannon, get your fans. Get your fans, because I'm about to stand up. She's like, I'm about to stand up. I'm like, yo, we about to. She's like, I'm about to stand up. Get your people. She stood up. She turned around, gave him that look. They sat down. I was like, oh, okay. Not a loser here.
Yeah, man, y'all got another year of Daniel Jones, man. Like, this is Daniel Jones. I mean, they got Malik Neighbors, but I'm looking at this depth chart, and Daniel Jones could probably start at receiver 2 for this team.
Like, I know they got the Hard Knocks on right now. I haven't been able to watch it yet, man. Like, I'm not saying I can't. I'm not mentally ready to accept behind the scenes of what went down with Saquon. And I get it. The running back position, depreciating value, the running back, I get all of that. But when you have a guy who was the franchise guy for so many years and was still playing at an elite level, then to see him go to not only someone else, but then go to the Eagles, I ain't ready to deal with all that right now. I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet.
I'm sure your wife enjoyed that.
And we were at the Giants Eagles on Christmas or whatever, right? So, and my son's he's the biggest Giant fan in the house, but he had to recognize, he was like, yo, I rock with Jalen Hurts. So we ended up getting him a Jalen Hurts jersey. So we're not all anti-Eagles. Like, we rock with certain folks. It's just them Eagles and them Philly fans. Why he pick Philly, man? Damn. Like, he couldn't go nowhere else. There was no other team that Saquon, no other team that needed a running back, that you had to go to the one team that we couldn't stand you going to. Was that really it? I tried to hold on, Bo, but you brought this out of me now. Like, I wasn't ready to have this conversation yet. But the one team, like Saquon, I get it. Get your money. You felt disrespected. That's all well and good. But you really have to pick the Eagles, though? Like, come on. And then you go to the Knicks and Sixers game and think that Knicks fans weren't going to talk crap about you because you were at the game. Like, come on, of all the teams.
Look, let me take people back to 2010, the year the Giants blew like a 21 or a 27-point lead to the Eagles, and the Eagles won the game at the end when Deshaun Jackson had this punt return where he dropped it, he bobbled it, he picked it up, he ran around, he broke free, and then he walked backwards into the end zone, and Tom Coughlin was all mad at the punter and everything else. And Shannon was very, very furious about this game. It really hit him in a special place. And then his wife, the Eagles fan, was actually having a great time, and then pulled up the post-game show on the computer for everybody to watch, which that was back before doing such a thing was really easy and just a thing that people readily did. No, it was a special occasion in the house. Shannon got to watch that post-game show.
She went out her way to find that damn live post-game, too.
You were so hot.
Dog, Matt Dodge, you had one job, bro. You had one job. Tom Coughlin told you, do not kick it to Deshaun Jackson. You had one job, the one thing, Matt Dodge, the one thing that you had to do, don't kick it to Deshaun Jackson. What's the one thing you do? You kicked it to Deshaun Jackson, and that was his last game in the NFL. No lie, Matt Dodge hadn't played another game in the NFL. One job.
That is Shannon Penn. Check him out. Freddie and Harry, 3 to 7 Eastern. ESPN Radio. My brother, it is a privilege, and I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Glad I could be here, guys.
All right, man. And ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. Remember, hit the voicemail line, 323-596-7767, in honor of the return of NCAA football. Tell us about the game cheating. We done seen some videos of the game cheating, but you tell us about the game cheating. 323-596-7767. Sean, you handles everything behind the scenes. Thank you, my man. Remember, follow The Right Time. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. We'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.